Hello guys, this is a quick video on how to troubleshoot your starter or your fuel pump on a 2000. This is a 2005 Nissan Titan, but I'm sure it applies to other Nissan trucks. So the way I was having trouble with this car here, it wouldn't crank at all. You wouldn't hear no noise coming from the starter or anywhere else. So I first suspected it was my starter, and then I did a little bit of research and I found out that this wire here feeds the starter. It's the starter signal. So I unplugged it from here and added direct current from my battery to there with a wire, and my starter started cranking. So then that led me to know that my starter was good, and so my next test was to this is called the IPDM, and this is where you have your relays here. You have some in the bottom too. And so when I would this brown wire here, this brown wire that you see here comes from your ignition switch. So when you turn it to the crank position, this one has 12 volts here going in, and since this is the red and white wire right there that you see right next to it, that's the starter feed wire, and I wouldn't get 12 volts out of that right there coming out. So I knew my problem was in here somewhere in the box, because I wasn't getting power to there. So I took this out and I messed with it a bit, and I was reading online that I guess this relay right here down here with the W, it's the only one with the W on the bottom, the second one from the left to right. I swapped it out for one of the other ones just to check and see if it'll crank, and it did start to crank. So I went to my dealer and I paid like $3.50 for this one at my local dealer. Luckily they had it, but I couldn't find any of the other ones, the ones with the number 4 on it. So I just tried my luck, and lo and behold, started to crank. So that's the ECM fuse right there. I mean the fuse, the relay, and this is your starter motor relay right there too. Sometimes you could swap these out, I guess, but most of the time it's gonna be this one right here, the ECM fuse. So once I got that one on, the engine would crank, but it wouldn't start. And so I had another problem, I guess. This car had 2 problems at the same time, which made me scratch my head. I thought it was maybe the key chip was not programmed no more to the car, so it wouldn't send out fuel. So I started to diagnose and did a little bit more research and found out that the black and yellow wire here, this is the signal to the fuel pump. And so I had somebody crank it over, and I put my test light right here inside, and 12 volts would be here. So after that, so this is the feed wire to the fuel pump. So if you want to test and see if the fuel pump is getting power, this is the wire to do it. And so just to extra make sure it was my fuel pump, I went to the connector at the fuel pump and I disconnected it, and I again had somebody crank it with well, yeah, I just had somebody else crank it, and I was reading 12 volts over there. So that led to the fuel pump being bad too. So yeah, just quick tips on which wire colors are for what. just so you know how to quickly check this. That way you don't have to be scratching your head like I did. So once again, the brown wire comes from the ignition switch. Make sure you got 12 volts right there when somebody's cranking it, and make sure you got 12 volts coming out of the red or the white and red wire. And then for your fuel pump, this is the black and yellow wire here. Make sure you also have 12 volts coming out of there. And if you want to do a manual test on your starter, like I said, just take this connector off and apply direct voltage, and you'll find out quick. I hope this helps some of you guys out there with similar problems.